Howdy everyone! Today we're going to be taking a look at Cozy Keep, which describes itself as a cozy shopkeeping game where you inherit your father's land and try to make enough money to stay afloat and pay off his debts and taxes. So, kind of like Stardew Valley with Animal Crossing debts and the Long Dark Survival? Oh, you also get an adorable little shop cat that you can name yourself. Obviously, I chose Binks because my partner and I recently watched Hocus Pocus, and I can't be bothered to be original when I've got walls to paint. And your little kitty is not just for display, they actually will help warn you when there are thieves in your shop by meowing and putting a little frowny face over his head. I found it really interesting that you also had to manage your hunger and thirst and sleep, of course, which is pretty much the basic survival stuff to monitor, but also how bad you smell. And also, you occasionally find the need to use the latrine in this game, which thankfully you can toggle off the sounds during that cutscene. All the while, you must level up your character, spend your skill points, unlock various parts of the farm, and wander the world to harvest supplies. You can also specialize the inventory of your store to be raw resources, jewelry, dungeoning gear, cooked food, etc. So you can really run it the way you want. Of course, when you just start out, you don't have access to making some of this stuff because, for example, you just don't have anywhere to harvest that much gold yet. As for the general daily activities, you can open up the portal and let customers into your shop for a few hours, keep it clean, pick up their trash, answer their questions, decorate your space for extra shop appeal, watch out for thieves, and review your very detailed sales reports at the end of the day. Just make sure you keep making your debt payments to the tax collector and paying your taxes so you can keep opening your portal without penalty. I personally have been able to pay my taxes so I can keep opening my portal. I don't really know what happens if you don't pay your taxes. I mean, I think you just get a penalty with interest, but I don't actually know how detrimental that could possibly be to running your store. And also you spend a lot of time enabling this stinky goblin by hand delivering an endless supply of trash for him to huff, I guess. The skill lines are a nice touch, though I will say it does take quite a lot of effort and time to level up. In about 20 hours I got to level 14, and each time you only get one skill point. But the skills are all usually pretty helpful as well, so if you do grab this game, I'd suggest taking the time to figure out what perks you'd like. I kind of wish I'd read them all before I was spending my points, because I'm a little goodies goblin, and I typically find myself over-encumbered. And all the way over here, tucked away in the corner, there are some perks that increase your carry weight, which kinda wish I knew about. Some of the skill trees feel a little bit weird, like this one that prevents thieves, but also prevents prohibition laws, like sandwiched between the anti-thief perk. Which feels similar, but also not similar enough to put in the same line. I don't know, it's kind of on the fence for me. I mean, it's honestly not that big of a deal, it's just something that I've noticed. There are also armor and tool qualities in this game, with wooden being the least efficient and gold being the most efficient. There is no durability for those things in this game, thankfully, otherwise I would definitely be bankrupt and homeless right now. You can choose between using a sword, spear, or bow to attack, but honestly I'm not too sure about the difference between the sword and the spear. I would assume that the spear has more range, but the sword does so much more damage than a spear of the same quality that I'd rather just kill the skeleton faster and just kite them to avoid the damage. My only question about gear and equipment is the purpose of the shield. It feels pretty useless right now because there is no blocking capabilities at this moment. So I'm not really sure if that's needed, or maybe if you could just readjust the armor stats and make do without the shield altogether since you can't even block anything with it. I'm not sure if that's something they're planning on adding at a later date either. So, pretty up in the air right now, but I do wish that I could block. Obviously, you don't really need to wear a full suit of armor or have weapons in your shop, since you only need a simple broom to punish thieves. All that gear is for when you explore the mines, which have a few gates to unlock as you venture down them more often. Each area of the mine unlocks new ores and new chests. They're not all unlocked the same way though. For example, one requires a lever, and one requires a number code. To acquire the keys to unlock the next section, you simply need to go down in the mine, harvest some stuff, kill some skellies, see if you get it, and if you don't, then try coming back in a couple of days when everything replenishes, and then clearing it again. After enough time, effort, killing skeletons, you'll receive whatever it is you need for the next section. There is only one gate that's a bit different for how it opens, but I'm not going to spoil that fun little thing for ya. You'll just have to play and find out. Or I'm planning on releasing some long-form unedited gameplay of Cozy Keep, so if you really want to, you can sit through that, watch it, put it on in the background, and maybe you'll catch me solving that little gate. I'm not sure how often they release updates, but I know they just released the fishing update this most recent September, which is awesome. It was pretty much right before I got the game. And I am such a sucker for fishing in games. Like, I will spend hours doing that in Elder Scrolls Online, in Stardew, in Skyrim, etc. And this one is super easy. You can choose from a whole menu of baits, and each one slightly differs in what sorts of fish you're able to reel in and how frequently. The fishing minigame itself is quite literally impossible to fail. They made it that way. But just as a tip, you can actually manage to hit F twice in each little lit up section if you're quick enough, making it all happen just that little bit faster because time does still pass at full speed while you're in the minigame. But, you know, that tip, it might get into non-cozy territory if you start trying that hard. So you can also just forget that I said that. Speaking of fish, I was able to find an infinite raw fish fillet glitch. If I had at least one salmon in my inventory or storage, then just held down the craft key in the menu, it would actually disappear from the grid of available crafting options, but it would keep telling me off to the side that I'm still making the items as long as I hold that button down, and even if I mouse over other options but don't click them, it keeps crafting. And then after I tried holding it down for a few minutes, it kept making stuff. I ended up with over 1,000 fillets. And the chest storage system is really restrictive at the lower levels, so I realized very quickly that I had nowhere to store it. I did also notice that it wasn't just the raw fish fillet option that disappears from the grid, it's also these other ones next to it for some reason. I don't really know what triggers them to glitch like that and disappear from the crafting menu, but I decided to get a little experimental with it, and I tried it for the sliced bread as well. And, yes, it did work. So now, I had a whole bunch of fishing bait, or you could use the fillets or bread slices in your composter for infinite fertilizer. But I will say that that's also not great because the fertilizer actually lasts for a few days or so. So it's not really beneficial to make more than like 25, honestly, if even that. And every single time I tried to replicate this infinite fish fillet and bread glitch, it was successful every single time I did it. And actually, if I increased the quantity of the initial craft, like, for example, if I did a multiple of 10 salmon and crafted it in bulk, it would still perform the glitch, and every single duplication would be as if I filleted 10 salmon at the same time. I also want to mention that I was able to find an infinite grape glitch as well. I don't really know how exactly it happened, to be honest, and I haven't tried to replicate it since, at least by the time I'm able to edit this video together and all that stuff. But I was trading for some grapes because I really wanted to get some seeds from it, but then it kind of glitched out a little bit, and for some reason I couldn't sell it, like, at all, and I couldn't move it in my inventory. It was right in that middle top column slot. And I could eat it infinitely, and it was actually great that that item glitched out because that replenishes both my food and my thirst bars, because it's fruit, right? And it would never go away, and I couldn't stack any more grapes on top of it, and I could just eat it. I didn't try crafting with it to make anything like wine, because I only managed to keep it at 1, and you need like 3 grapes for a bottle of wine, I guess. The only reason that glitch went away in my inventory is because I ended up trying to see if I can make infinite seeds from it. And what ended up happening is that it told me that I had like negative 47 grapes or something. And then it actually disappeared finally. And I was actually pretty sad that I got rid of that glitch because it was actually pretty useful instead of carrying around like 100 cooked fish to keep me sustained in the mines, or like cooked meat or sausages or stuff like that. So it was probably the most useful glitch I'd found, actually. But I have no idea how it happened. Would I do it again? Absolutely. But anyway, it's also pretty easy to get around the stamina bar if you just jump during sprinting and let go of shift as soon as you're midair, and then the stamina just regenerates. And it also regenerates super fast in this game, so it's really not an obstacle at this point, and it is also fun to just be jumping around everywhere, so there's that too. I will also say, there's this area over in the west called Demon's Nest, and I've got no clue what that's supposed to be. Like, I don't know if somehow I missed something, or it's something that's being worked on for a future update, or if there's some little Easter egg. I don't really know, but I would fight all the skeletons there, almost die, loot the chests, but then that's it. Like, I couldn't interact with anything else. You know, that orb, I mean, I like the orb, I just don't know what that's all about. You know what I mean? And the skeletons would respawn, I think, every day. If you guys know anything about that, please let me know in the comments. I couldn't find anything online, so maybe it's just meant to be a weird orb with a bunch of skeletons every day for some reason. Also, there was the stinky well. I mean, I had no idea what to do with that. It didn't start a quest or anything, so I think it might have just been a little bit of silly funny that the developers were making. And there was also a bear sleeping in a cave, who I stole a bunch of treasures from. And if you want your game even cozier, you can actually toggle off thieves appearing in your shop at all, which I think is nice because it honestly does get a little bit stressful at times trying to look out for someone who's pretending to be a regular customer until they make the mad dash for the door instead of paying. And then you have to chase them down, sometimes all the way to the portal with the broom and then smack them. Anyway, I love this game so much. It's actually something I know I'll be coming back to when I'm feeling like relaxing, but, you know, keeping my hands and mind lightly busy, like perhaps while I'm catching up on an audiobook or my shows. I mean, I accidentally played this game for 5.5 hours the first session, which, yeah. And I've even already recommended this game to a couple of my coworkers that I know play RPGs and cozy games just like this. I found that this game always had me doing something a little different every day to keep the store stocked up and with a good variety of items. I didn't really feel like I got super duper stuck in one routine like I tended to do in like Stardew Valley or even Minecraft, but maybe that's just because I'm not very efficient or business minded. So I'm sure if you're more experienced in running a successful medieval shop, you'd probably beat the game even faster than me and get a proper routine going for keeping everything running very smoothly. It took me 19 hours, including sitting in the menu, stepping away for snacks, to complete the game. And even though I'm not that much of a good business person, I still found myself typically very ahead in payments and sometimes making multiple debt payments in one visit. So this game is very low stakes, pretty easy, honestly. And if you're more of a completionist, it is very, very easy to 100% the achievements for this game. Even the 2 achievements that have a title but no detailed description on how to actually unlock them, they're pretty easy to figure out. That's all I got for Cozy Keep, so thank you for stopping by and watching to the end. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a thumbs up or even subscribe to see what I get up to next. I try to stream on Fridays around 8:30 p.m. EST, but if I don't have time to stream on any particular Friday, I plan to try and release a video instead. Right now, we're in the middle of a Baldur's Gate 3 Monk playthrough on balanced difficulty, and I do plan to also publish some long-form, unedited gameplay of Cozy Keep soon because I know I personally love that stuff, and I have the footage anyway, so I figure I might as well just share it with you guys if you want it. With that, I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.